David, you look like you're ready to go into surgery, but we're not. We're here to talk about the Generation 8 of the Golf, and in this case,
the Golf Life.
It is the Golf Life. This has only been on the market, David, for a couple of months, and when it launched there were 3 models. Now there's only 2, excluding the GTI. There's only 2. There was Golf, Life and R-Line. Now there's just this one, the Golf Life, and the R-Line. Golf Life, what does that mean to you?
It means it's not dead, I suppose.
No, well, that's true, and that's about all it means. But I'm glad they didn't fiddle with the formula of Golf too much. On the front, the huge VW sign with the radar and all of that sort of stuff behind it, along with the cameras and so forth up on top for the fancy IQ drive. The lights, David, they look quite slim.
Slim, it's not a cacophony of different shapes, you know.
And look, it comes down here into the bumper, which I think looks rather sexy.
I think it uses its lines rather well.
There are people that don't like this look. One of the things I like about it, Dave, and it's a bit of an unusual feature, is it's got walk-up locking. As I get closer with the key in my pocket, the doors unlock and the mirrors unfold, but it doesn't do it when you walk away, which I think is odd.
So you've got to get your hand into your pocket and the thing out to lock it.
Well, no, you just use this.
Right.
So you lock it with that, and you can unlock it by putting your hand in.
Rather simple lines here, isn't it? Just one straight, strong crease down there.
But I think it looks great. Sunroof is huge, but the opening is quite small. I mean, the sunroof is this long, but the opening is only this long. They rejigged all the lettering for the Golf emblems, which I quite like. Getting into the boot, you just tilt the Golf symbol and up it pops. Under here is also the camera, which pops out when you hit reverse. And underneath, the floor is a space saver spare. I like this a lot. About 374 litres, and the chairs go down 60-40. David, that's very tight.
We put it one notch forward, but it gives me a little bit of room. Once I'm in, it's not too bad. My feet can fit under there, but it's still not huge.
The upholstery is absolutely delicious.
It doesn't have that sort of cheap, checky pattern to it.
No, I think it's absolutely beautiful, and there's a little ski hatch behind the armrest. And the carpet is this kind of odd, kind of felty feeling stuff, very, very thin though. But we do have rather nice floor mats.
Doesn't go in and out. Oh yes it does, it's just a bit harder.
And a very nice clean console. Nice stubby little gear lever, give it a pull back to go into drive, another pull back to go into sport. There's the start stop button and the park button. And then up top, full digital dash, lovely wide infotainment screen, and the touch buttons for the temperature control for the air conditioning and the volume for the radio, David. I thought that was the fan control.
Yeah.
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 The problem that I've got here, generally, we've got the button missing here for the drive modes, which we had in the Golf GTI, but you have to go here to get to climate, and that's where the sync button is. Also, I tried to change the time. The time, as you can see, is wrong. But how do you get to the time? Oh no, it's changed. No, I don't want to. Oh God, it's changed. Oh bloody hell. Now, what I wanted to get to was the settings. When I first went to settings, this is the menu it brought me up in. But you've got to go across through this home screen, into settings, and then there's the time and date. The doors have locked as we've headed off. This is, honestly, this is one of the loveliest, gentlest, most beautiful cars once you get moving.
I got into this car after getting out of a 6-speed auto that had been around for a bit of a while, but was a very credible gearbox. As soon as I felt this change, I felt it had a degree of...
Just beautiful. But it's not just that, David, it's the fact that it's got a 110 kilowatt, 1.4 litre 4-cylinder turbo engine. And it's not the same VW 1.4 that's been around for a while. It's relatively new-ish. It's just so smooth. It's like a fine Swiss watch. And in fact, that's how I describe this car. Like a fine Swiss watch. Steering going around this corner is ridiculously light.
Speed sensitive?
Yeah, but because there's no sports mode, it means that it doesn't get tougher. There's one pull back on the gear lever will put the gearbox into sports mode, but it doesn't change the steering.
Okay. Do you change it often when you're driving or when you're going on a particular type of trip?
All the time. Yeah, all the time.
I think you would be an exception to that.
Oh, really?
Many people would just get in it and drive.
Well, I think from takeoffs, I like to have a little bit of extra spunk in my monk.
But that means you're changing over the course of one trip. You might have changed 4 or 5 times.
Or more, yeah. Yep. But it's easy. I mean, that's not exactly hard. And now I've just pulled another pull back and the gear stick has put me back into gentle, normal, everyday mode. David, I am now, I'm not quite at night. I was trying to demonstrate what it was like to get to 100, but of course now we're behind a boat.
Well, you're pulling out from the side street there. It's probably the only time you go 0 to. Jeez. That thing's twisting around, isn't it?
Oh, I think it's the driver is a bit of an idiot.
I give him all the room in the world.
I'd forgiven him if he was hot, but he's not. But what I'm going to do now that we're on the highway is I'm just going to press set. And I've now activated the full IQ drive, which is just what they call their collection of things. I want to get off here, don't I?
Yes.
I'm going to indicate to go over. Like all VWs, it won't overtake on the inside. But
on the cruise control.
On the cruise control, yep. But it's now keeping me a set distance from the car in front up to the speed limit and within the lines, and it's virtually watching around. If anything happens to me, the car's actually going to stop itself. If it thinks you've not got your hands on the wheel, it'll give the seatbelts a couple of tugs and eventually it'll come to a stop. So this is just displaying in front of me exactly what I want to see, no more, no less. I can change the views, and I think the theme that I've chosen, this lovely lilac blue, indigo blue, is delicious. We've been critical of the last few cars we've been in. The resolution of the reversing camera was a little bit, how's your father? This looks pretty good.
Looks sharp and gives you confidence, really, doesn't it? It's not as though it's a blurry thing. You notice here we have a left turn on red permitted. Very rare.
You'll want the indicators on the other side, Joyce.
Yes. I just thought I'd clear the windscreen.
Did you?
Yeah.
And is it cleared? Oh, good. The ride, I think, is absolutely beautiful.
It's good, isn't it? Again, it carries over that sense of being well put together.
Yes, of luxury. And that's what this feels like. Even the trim, I don't normally go in for this kind of fake metally looking trim, but I think that looks sensational. But it goes with this luxurious feel of the cabin and the luxurious ride. Sure, it's not an Audi, okay, I get that. But the ride with Macpherson Struts at the front and God knows how many multilinks at the back, it is absolutely delicious.
This pattern here is not strong, but it's got its character about it.
It's just lovely.
It's like a suit. Do you remember we talked about the interior cloth often looking like a good suit or like a cheap clown suit?
That's what this looks like, David. This cabin looks tailored.
Tailored?
This cabin looks like it's been tailored to suit me. This suits me beautifully. Now, one of the things that commenters have said is they thought this looked a little bit cheap because of the acres of piano black. But you can bet your bottom dollar if they put this matte look that's on the doors and so forth, they'd say that looked cheap. And you've got to have it surrounded by something.
Yeah.
I think this looks absolutely beautiful.
I think it looks better because it seems as though it's designed in rather than my perpetual dislike of a screen just jutting out.
And David, I'm about to surprise you. I don't even mind that.
Alan.
I know. And do you know why? Because it encompasses the entire cockpit and it matches the other side. The other side's a little bit lower because it's over the buttons, but I think that matches and it wraps around like a pair of sunglasses, like a visor. That's all we've got this week for the Golf Life. I liked it a lot, but that menu system leaves a lot to be desired. But as always at this time of the film, we say hit like,
Leave a comment,
and there to subscribe.